get you, but don't gloss over. These numbers are important. Okay, 13%, that's the number we're down from veteran homelessness from last year. Huge. On a federal level, we haven't seen that number in decades. Here in Arizona, 990 statewide is what we're looking at for veteran homelessness, and 440 here in Maricopa County. So, one, that tells me that progress is possible, and two, that we still have a lot of work to do. Because if you've ever tried to navigate veteran housing, benefits, or mental health, plus disabilities, and supporting veterans entirely as a community, our organizations that are helping veterans, the number doesn't tell the whole story. There's a lot more behind the scenes there. Today, we're talking about veteran homelessness, transitional housing, and the barriers these organizations face outside the VA, and why people doing this work usually have stories that could have broke them but didn't. And just so we're clear, this isn't a pity story. It's a solutions conversation. We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it human. And yes, we're going to bring up some hope, and we're going to do that right from the jump. We like to have fun. We're not a glum lot. So stay tuned at the end of this segment to hear upcoming events from our organization and from the people we're going to be talking to today. So this is a spotlight. Let's get into it. Gary, Veronica, Home of Record Project. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
having us.
You guys have recently pivoted what you're doing at your organization. And we talked about that last week when you came in to check out the new spot here at the new Arizona Veterans Resource Center. And we talked a little bit about game plans going forward, working together as an alliance, coalition partners here in the East Valley, what we're doing to keep those numbers trending down. Okay. But before we went live, and I was telling you the statistics, and you're like, well, yeah, it does look good in Arizona, but in other states, it's trending up, not down. Mm-hmm. So, Gary, what do you say to that? What's missing? What's the gaps? What's the difference here?
Yeah. And like we kind of spoke about, it's a very complex, multifaceted issue. It's not just as easy as saying, hey, why don't these people have homes and why can't we just house them? If it was that simple, we probably would have done it by now and it would be fixed. But yeah, it's different for every state, and that comes down to a lot of different factors, to include funding, to the state legislator, to all kinds of things, to the veterans that are in that state and how they want to be helped. But at the end of the day, it's still a problem, and that's why we exist as an organization, to help try and fill the gaps from both the state and federal organizations, so that if there's veterans that are falling through the cracks, that we're still supporting them and ensuring that they get housing.
Boom. That's awesome. So you come to this work, like I said, we have to look at the leaders that are doing this work, and there's a story behind there. So why? How you
why
served, and then you're here doing this work, and you have a story, and what leads you to do this work day in and day out?
Yeah, this is my calling, and I'm fortunate enough to have found that and be able to pursue it. For me, I went through the Marine Corps, 0311 infantry, did my 5 years, and I got out in 2016. From there, I actually went back. I didn't quite have enough. I went to work for Triple Canopy as a contractor in the Middle East again. And then I came back to finish my degree at ASU. So I went to Arizona State. I got a bachelor's and a master's in emergency management and homeland security. And from there, I moved with my then fiance to Tucson to go work for Raytheon. So I was working for Raytheon, kind of doing my thing, living the life, as we'd say, living the dream in the military. Everything was like working out, just how I kind of had envisioned. Like getting out didn't seem like it was that hard for me to navigate. Didn't seem like I had the typical transitional like pitfalls coming out. So I was like, oh, I'm different. I made it. I'm good. And then I got humbled and I got taught, what reality is. And it started with a diagnosis. So initially, I realized something was awry downstairs. So I went in to get that checked, and the doctors came into the room, and I thought they were going to be like, oh, yeah, don't sweat it, man. Take this pill, like give it 24 hours, you'll be good. And instead they came in and said, we found a mass, you have cancer. And so that obviously at the time, it didn't really feel like anything. I'm not gonna lie. It just was like, oh, I have cancer. Like, okay, well, it's testicular cancer. That's survivable. 95%, survivability rate. Like, no big deal. Easy. I'll just do what the doctors tell me, and I'll be fine. And so, for those that are unaware, the process generally starts with what's called a radical orchiectomy, where they just remove the testicle or testicles that have cancer. So that's how my process started as well. And everything was going fine. I remember starting with Raytheon and like being concerned because I had just had the surgery done and I was going to work that day and like, typing on the computer and trying not to be in like too much pain while having that done. But was, working fine. Everything was going good. I went on a hike and my hip started hurting and hurting more than what it should have been on like a normal hike. So I went to the doctor again. They said, oh, don't worry about it. It's probably just some residual inflammation from the surgery, all that. But thankfully my family, kept pushing me and said, no, you need to check on this. You need to go get this scanned again. Pain got so bad I had to go to the ER. They scanned it and the cancer had metastasized into my lymph nodes and my hip and was spreading throughout the rest of my body. So at that point, things got a little bit more serious. During that process, what I didn't realize, I knew cancer was going to affect my life, but I thought it would be physical, and I thought I'd have someone to lean on during that experience. But unfortunately, cancer plays a pretty significant role in divorce as well. Statistics are pretty bad as far as people that get cancer and their spouses staying with them. And unfortunately, I was included in those statistics and started the process of divorce while going through my treatment. So that is what I lovingly refer to as my kick in the nut, because I have one now. So I have this, I'm in my pit at this point. I have been thought that I was on, the high of highs. Now I'm in the lows of lows. And I remember sitting in my house down in Sahuarita. It's like 20 minutes south of Tucson. And I have a coffee table, kind of looked like that. And I had my Glock on said coffee table. And I'm sitting there after all this. I think I've like just started chemo, so I've like hair's falling out. Definitely thinner, in stature and all that. And thinking to myself, well, like, that looks like a pretty good option right now. Pick up the gun and just, call it a day. And thankfully, the biggest thing for me, honestly, this sounds pretty bad, was the fact that I didn't want my dog to probably, I don't know if he would have ate me or not, but I didn't want to leave, and like I was responsible for my dog. And in a sentimental sense too, like I didn't want to do that, regardless. And then of course family and everything else. Thankfully that night, a couple of my buddies that I served with drove down 2 hours from Phoenix to stay the night with me, just be there. And when like you hear about support systems and people showing up, like I don't think that gets talked about enough. A lot of people say, hey, how can I help? That's great. It really does help. But the action that they took to actually go down there and spend that time with me, they knew the circumstances and what was entailed in that, and I can't thank them enough. They saved my life.
Wow.
And so from there, I started my treatment. I got into the Mayo Clinic in North Phoenix. I went through a tandem stem cell transplant. And essentially what that was, well, I first went through an entire round of chemo that failed because it came back, which that was, again, that's what made me understand how dire my situation was. Because I was still on the sense of like, okay, it's still relatively survivable. The chemos that they have for testicular cancer are pretty potent and they work pretty well. They actually haven't changed the treatment since like it was first created, because of how good it is. So from there, that first time failed, and so the doctor said like something's going on here, like something's not right. So I did genetic testing, and it came back that I had no genetic predisposition for testicular cancer. There was nothing there genetically in that sense to create it. And they started asking questions of like, hey, like, have you ever been exposed to anything outside the norm? I was like, oh, well, now that I think about it, like, I was in Japan after the Fukushima reactor melted down, and we were drinking water like out of that bay, and I was in the burn pits in the Middle East. And I started telling them those, and they're like, yeah, this is more than likely a result of your service-related exposures.
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, still trying to survive here, so I'm just going to keep focusing on that. And they did this tandem stem cell transplant where they put you in a room for 2 weeks, can't leave the room. They give you high-dose chemo, which starts to kill all of the fast reproducing cells within your body. So I remember at one point, I would just start bleeding out of my gums because you don't have enough of the white blood cells to help clot and like keep your blood where it's supposed to be. You know, hair goes, obviously, taste buds start to go, those kinds of things. Any cells that reproduce quickly. And after they do the high dose chemo, prior to that, they take a lot of your blood and they pull the stem cells out of your blood, and they put them in liquid nitrogen and they freeze them while you go through this chemo treatment. And once you finish the chemo treatment and they get you as close as they can to like actually dying, they will give you your stem cells back. They go back into your bones and regrow. Like science doesn't quite understand how the stem cells know how to do that, but they'll go back into your bones, regrow, and it essentially wipes out like everything in your body. It actually erases your immune system as well. So I like to call it like a hard reset. The tandem means that I had to do that twice. So they did one reset and they do another reset. And from there, it kills everything in your body to include the cancer. So as of now, last June was 4 years cancer-free. So I'm going, well, no detectable cancer. And then I'm going for 5 years as kind of the gold standard of like, you are now completely in remission. Like there's no detectable cancer, you're good.
That's amazing.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
all of this, long story, but all of this to say that when I was going through that treatment, those 2 weeks I was spending in the hospital there, be a lot of nights I'd be in the bed and I would hear people like wailing from their treatments. And I honestly don't know how a lot of people survive their various treatments, especially at the age that they come in at. But I remember just like being in that spot and thinking to myself, like, there's a very real chance that I do not survive this. And if God was willing, and if he thought that I could do some good in the world still, that if he gave me that second chance, I would use it. I would absolutely use it to the fullest extent that I could. And so I got my second chance. And so now it is my full purpose, duty, and mission. There's nothing else you can ask Veronica, Joe, anybody that knows me. I live, breathe, sleep, helping veterans get housing. The housing piece is more so just because that's where I was well suited. I could help veterans in a million different ways, but for me, housing felt like that's where I was the strongest at, so why not make the lift there? But it is by far my purpose, and so that is how I found it. And I think there's a saying, I think it's in Yellowstone, where it's like, you don't truly know what to do with your life until you've stood on the cliff of death, and you've seen, death. And that's what it took for me, was to get to that point. So yeah, now I have a purpose.
Wow.
I know. I'm like, where are the tissues?
Thank you for sharing that with everybody. That's so powerful, because you could have chosen to give up. And for your friends to come up, did you reach out to them and tell them that you were staring down the Glock?
No, not the Glock, but definitely they knew the situation. They knew that that my wife had just left, and that the cancer diagnosis. So they knew that. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this work with Home of Record?
Little over 2 years now. Yeah. November of 2023 is when we started.
You have a ring on, so you found love along the way?
Yes. Yes. Through mutual friends. I found my current wife, and she would visit me during treatment after the divorce and all that. There was a part of my treatment where she'd come out and play Scrabble with me, while I'm sitting there in the hospital. So, it's very nice to know that someone would care about you when you're at your absolute lowest. I think it says a lot about her character, who she is as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can feel the weight of that, having people leave when you're in your dark era, when you're in your pit, like you said. And it is a lot for like the caretakers out there to carry their veteran.
Yes.
They either leave or they're no longer the partner or the spouse or the wife, or they just become the caretaker. They've lost their identity in helping the veteran. Yep. And there's other organizations that lift that burden and give them respite. It's heavy. That's why I like to say that this is a whole family situation here. It's a community report. Yeah. Okay, we all have to lean in and find out where we can help. Like you said, where am I best suited?
Yeah.
Right.
And
insert yourself there where you're strongest, because there's so many elements to everything that we do, and that's why we have multiple organizations. I love what you guys are doing, because there's so many other veteran organizations out there, but they're working in silos. And just talking to you guys last week, it's like we need to band in arms here. We're nearby each other. We're facing the same crises, but where can I pick up the tab here, and where can I hand it off to you, and what's going to help you guys take the veteran from here? How can I help beef it up so you don't have to do as much of the groundwork? And you guys have a nice streamlined process. You can just grab them. You know who I am and what we do here, and that they're vetted. And you're like, I can take you at your word that you've done all the case management piece and hand them off. So, man, wow. So Fukushima, Middle East, and then your own personal battle, and you're here to tell the tale, and you're like, and then giving back. That's the ultimate goal, I think, in life, to be of purpose, to be of service like that.
Yep.
Right.
Just, what do you do outside of the work that keeps you balanced? Because like you said, I live, breathe, sweat, all the things.
Yeah.
What do you do for you?
You still have to set boundaries.
You have fucking boundaries.
You still have to set boundaries, because as you take on a job of pulling people out of the pit, and I like to say, if you've gone through it yourself, the way. You've found that way out of your own pit. So now you have a responsibility to take your light, go back in there, find the other person that's stuck, and pull them out. Yep. But that is hard, and it takes a lot out of you. I swear there's some phone calls I've been on where I have felt some of my life go through the phone. And you just have to reconcile that and know that you're gonna be put in those situations where you have to give pieces of yourself to help other people out. And it's a burden. So to do that, you create boundaries and you stick to those boundaries, because yes, everybody has an emergency. Every day there is an emergency. And if you could help every single person, well, you'd probably be God. There's no way that any one person can do all that all the time. So you set your boundaries. And then for me, I have my dog that I love to spend time with. Obviously, I have my beautiful wife that I love to spend time with. And, there's a million and one different other things, but I'm kind of like a real estate nerd to some degree. I like to, look into starting a new Airbnb if I can, or doing different things to, get travel and all those kinds of things. So setting boundaries, having hobbies, and then being involved in your community too, and getting that support. Like you just mentioned, the team of people, the community, leaning on them. We do housing, and I'd like to think we do it pretty well, but what we don't do? We don't specify in mental health. We don't specify in physical health. We can offer programs for that. We can, help veterans with that to get back up on their feet, recommend good resources, but that's not our niche. That's not our subject matter of expertise. So we defer to the experts, and get the help that we need.
Yeah, that's what my dad's always said, put aces in their places.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you and I can run these organizations, but it's up to us to hire the right executive managers for those programs. Like you and I are both trying to bring on a social worker into our groups. I think it's super helpful that they can see the veteran all the way through their goals, because the ultimate piece here is what we always get the questions on the show is, how are you holding veterans accountable? So when they come into this program, we have them sign something that says, these are the goals that you must achieve before we go to the next tier of services.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they're always in an emergency.
Yes.
And if we keep giving and they're not accomplishing anything on their side, we have to see what's the barrier that's preventing them from getting there.
Yeah.
Is it the expectations they have of the government or all these subsidies? Like they're like, well, I'm a veteran, I deserve all this. It's like, yes, it's there for you, but you have to work for it. Otherwise, you're going to be contained in this box. You're going to be stuck there living in this little cycle, and your quality of life is shit. And then there's nobody there checking your mental health. Maybe you haven't picked up the tools, or you have to learn how to use tools in a different way. Like I like to say, when I took calculus, I could not get it. I kept taking it over and over again until I found the right tutor who described it or, taught it in a way I was like, oh, click.
That makes sense.
It's things like that. It's like finding the right. That's why I like some people. I'm like, I have to send you to this other organization because I cannot get to the level to reach through to you here.
Right.
But maybe it's a gender thing, or maybe it's an era thing. And so it's important for us all to work together and network to know what our strengths and weaknesses are as organizations.
Right.
But we have to find the ones that are working in silos so that we can better suit each individual. That's why I like to call it a tailored, comprehensive approach.
Yeah.
Because it's
takes
just
a
so
team,
vast, the needs of each individual. We all have stories like that, those heroes' journeys. Some of us don't make it out. And your story is so strong. Like, Veronica, you've been on the show before, and we've heard a lot about your history and your time in service. You were on the East Valley Women's show we did as well. What is it that Gary said that resonated with you about leadership and about overcoming these dark pits?
It's interesting because when I met him, I was in a pretty dark place myself. I worked for my dad for, off and on for probably 20 years. And after I got out of the military, and I realized I was really missing my veteran community. And I always wanted to start something similar to what my dad had started, but for veterans. And I was scrolling LinkedIn one day and I saw what Home of Record Project was doing, and I reached out to see if it was something that they would be interested in taking on another person, and if it was a good alignment. And I met Gary, and it just fit. And I truly feel that it was a God thing that we met, because it was in a time that I really needed to be around my fellow veterans, and I just felt like I had lost a lot working for my dad. Just a lot of things were going on at that time. And when I found Home Record Project, I was like, this is where I need to be. And I've been super grateful to have them around as support during times that I needed. And they probably don't even realize it. But I'm getting all emotional just from Gary's story already. But yeah.
Well, Nicole, you said the aces in places, and sometimes you get lucky and the aces come to you and they put themselves in the places. And Veronica did that for us. We needed Veronica for our organization, and when she came in, the mission alignment was there, and I think she could sense that and knew it. And likewise with me, like, we understand that the underlying mission is to serve veterans, and we're going to do whatever we can to make that happen. And
it's funny though, because working for a family, and it could be any family, not just mine, but you get really worried about stepping on people's toes and not fitting in certain areas. And I was so nervous about doing certain things, and Joe told me one day, I was like, I don't want to step on, and I don't think he realizes how he resonated with me, but he said, I said, I don't want to step on anyone's toes here. And he's like, step on the toes. And
yes,
that's
awesome.
Yeah, I remember that all the time when I'm doing stuff now. Like, don't worry about, obviously you have to worry about
those toes.
And now I'm just stepping on everybody's toes now. No, but
Yeah, because you get to just be real and
Right.
raw. Like before the show, you're like, "Can we cuss in here?" I'm like,
Right.
"Fuck yeah, this is a veterans podcast."
Yeah.
So like, let's be real, because if the more transparent we are, the better authenticity, right?
Right.
We can attract each other that way. So when you start a mission, and you know it's your purpose, right, or it's
Right.
godly or divine, then your soldiers will show up for you. Like it's just like this
Right.
beacon. They know where to go. They'll see the hope, and they'll see that the need needs to be filled. And like, I can do something there to help. You can do something to help.
Right.
Like if
And-
you come down and check out these programs and see what's missing, because we'll get in that tunnel vision, right? And then we need some kind of outside perspective to come in and just shift things around. And I like to look at it that way. I'm like, I never saw it that way. And then just case in point, the show here today that I built out, I thought it was pretty clever and all that shit. And then we started talking, and I was like, okay, I threw the tablet away, and I was like, let's just have a real conversation, just like we did last week, because that's where all of it comes out.
Right.
We have to let it all come out and see where the puzzles pieces can fit with us, and then with those other groups that I don't know how many you've met. I've met quite a few, but I know there's plenty more out there that don't have the funding, they don't have the awareness. And what niche are they working on that we haven't even addressed yet? Kind of
Right.
like Dr. Maria Cronin, who was on last week with the adoption piece. Talk about complex PTSD.
Right.
How many other things like cancer can go into that?
Right.
You know, like we don't ask those questions on intake, and sometimes they won't divulge that, because if it's not service connected, or if they have some kind of mental block and they don't want to talk about it, even though it could aid in them getting their benefits.
Yeah.
Right.
I have two big things to say on the note of cancer and veterans. The first being the PACT Act, right? When I was first diagnosed and went through my treatment, after I had finished, was still finishing my treatment, I submitted through the VA for service connection based off of what my providers were telling me. I was denied. Without the PACT Act being in place, veterans like me were being denied for service-related exposures and disabilities. Once the PACT Act came into law, I filed a supplemental claim through the DAV, which any veteran can do because it's a free resource to file claims through. And from there, it was pushed through, and I was service connected for that claim. So the PACT Act was huge for all veterans that have any kind of service-related exposure that they think came from the burn pits, from the fuel, what is it, JP8?
JP5, JP8.
Yeah,
JP12.
yep, all those different types. Camp Lejeune water
Yeah.
to whatever it might be that you probably got exposed to while you were in the service. You can get that service connected through the PACT Act to a degree. There's qualifiers that you have to be in certain places at certain times, and only certain cancers are covered. But a really good group, this is the second point, is the Hunter 7 Foundation. So they specifically assist veterans that have diagnosis like cancer, rare cancers that people aren't getting from just, being alive and walking down the street. A lot of times special operators as well, when they get these cancers, the Hunter 7 Foundation will step in and usually cover on things that the VA won't, if they can, and they're just a really great resource for any veteran that's suffering from that exposure. So I thought there was a question at some point in this.
I don't know, but thank you for leading with that. That's
Right.
amazing. We were
Yeah.
going to definitely put that in the description. I hadn't heard of that either.
Yeah, they helped me in my cancer journey as well. There was a couple times where a bill would come outstanding that like insurance wasn't taking it, and the Mayo Clinic wouldn't write it off, so there was still a bill to be paid, and the Hunter 7 Foundation came in and took care of it, pretty much no questions asked. So it's awesome.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you don't have the funding to go through the cancer treatments before you get the PACT Act thing, and then you get your VAs, before you get any of the money or the connection to the VA, that's coming out of pocket. And
Yes.
if you don't have the wherewithal to find the Mayo Clinic or do your research and find the Hunter 7
Foundation. Yeah.
if you don't have that, then you that person maybe not would have gone to the recovery that you got.
Yeah, I think it's very, very real outcome for a lot of veterans. That is not all said and done. My treatment was, I think, like $1.1 million.
Wow.
So not a light price tag.
So when people come to your program, what does it look like? Where do you get them from? Is it from organizations like us? And Veronica, you do outreach. I know you're shifting gears on the level of the organization internally. But
Yeah. So yeah, we do some stand downs, which you'll get some referrals from, but it's definitely organizations like yours where we get most of the referrals from, and it's probably the main source.
Word of mouth from the
Yeah.
veteran community, veteran organizations is our top referral source.
so there's 440 homeless veterans in Maricopa County.
Yes.
Wow.
And there's 990 in the state. How many of them are being housed?
By us?
Yeah. By whom? We
Vic-
got U.S. Vets.
Yes.
It's a big one.
Yep,
Right.
Manna House, another big one.
Manna House,
Catholic
yeah.
Charities runs that. I know like UMOM and a couple other of those cover down on veterans. They're not running like veteran specific programs
Right.
necessarily. I think A New Leaf has a decent veteran population as well. But yeah, there's definitely resources. And
How's yours different?
great question.
Yeah.
I'd say probably the main reason we're different is not only do we address the issue itself, the crisis itself of being unhoused, but then we look at the underlying factors that led them to becoming unhoused to begin with.
Yeah.
So that includes the social determinants of health and how we can best support them through different resources in our community, getting them connected through that to get them back up on their feet and become stably housed. Because we talked about incentives earlier on how if you set up a system with an incentive, it can, determine whether that's a good or a bad system. I mean, arguably, let's just take like, the pharmaceutical industry for an example, right? Like a lot of opinions on that, right? Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but what is the underlying incentive for the pharmaceutical industry? To make money, right? Because we're a capitalistic society, you have a duty to your shareholders to make money. So are you going to prevent or stop the things that make you money? Probably not. Like it's
Right.
probably not in your best interest to stop those. So the homelessness system is set up in a similar way, where if you make money off of housing people and you run out of people to house because you fixed your problem, well, the incentives don't line up. And so one thing that we are trying to do differently is ensuring that if you come through our program, that you are not back in that system, that you are not cycling through to other systems, that you are getting out of this system and being housed
Right.
and being put into stable housing. And so far, out of the 12 veterans that have completed our program, all 12 of them are still stably housed.
Awesome.
So
Way to
I
go,
know
guys.
I know we're just starting off, and you can throw stones at that figure because we only have 12. But at the end of the day, like 100% success rate for these veterans coming through our program, and that tells us that we're onto something. Like something in what we are doing is working, and so we just want to scale that now. So the 400 some other veterans in Maricopa County we can assist, the 900 some in the state of Arizona we can assist, and eventually everywhere else
Yeah.
nationally.
Prevent it from trending up like the other states, right?
Yes. Right.
Like, so maybe they can glean from this what they're doing, not wrong, but how they can shift and
Yeah, change the system a little bit, change the incentives, make it so the goal is to get veterans into housing long term and not keep them in a system.
Circulate. Yeah.
yeah. A lot of these body broker institutions work like that.
Yeah.
So they
Exactly.
don't deliver the whole health piece.
Yes.
So they're in it for the numbers. They feed you
Yeah.
and they give you three hots and three hots and a cot, right?
Yeah.
And-
They give you, and then a month later, they're back here seeking services, and then they go back in this. I mean, I myself lived that, and I was
Right.
like, I'm not getting better. I keep going to these places, I'm not getting better. They dry you up and they spit you back out.
Yeah.
And until I found a place that gave me the let's go down to the dark place,
Right.
Yeah.
and bring all of that nasty out,
Yep.
so that you can be whole, new, and see above that. It's just like the fog lifts,
Right.
and you can see everything for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I am not constrained by all of this anymore. And then you have to walk with the person after that, because that realization, it's stark. Everything is new and bright and shiny. And then that could be unsafe as well. Because
Yeah.
you go out there, they ask you to drop all of your guards, all your safety behaviors.
Raw.
And then it's scary. So like, I like the housing approach, because you get to tear down, and you don't just put them in for 30 days and let them go. You hold their hand to a level, then you get them to another level, and then they become ambassadors of the program.
Yes.
Yep.
Like one of your near success stories.
Yeah.
He was here, and then we sent him to Manna House, and then he met with you guys.
Yep.
You want to tell us about
Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah, love to, because he's awesome. It goes to show, like, from his perspective of being somebody that was couch surfing, you know, and from Manor House to, I believe, that couch surfing, then to us, where we had him housed, and then what veterans can really do if they like take hold of our program and run with it. You know, I've seen veterans that have gotten our program and have been like, it's not for me, and they're out. And that happens, you know, it isn't for everybody. It's a journey. But for Andrew, when he grabbed onto it, he immediately took off with it, to the point, so much so now, that he's not only stably housed and renting on his own with an increase in income and getting his benefits and a bunch of other things, but he's looking in the near future, within the next year or so, and purchasing a home, and utilizing his VA benefits to do that. And so it's that full circle. And then now he's volunteering for us and helping us out as an organization too, which is awesome, because there's nothing better than somebody who's, again, been to the pit, walked through it himself with the light, because somebody else guided him, right? And now he can turn back and grab more and bring them out. But nobody can make you walk it, because if you do everything for them, what's the value? What did you learn from that experience? You know, if you just walk people through and give them everything to set them up, there's no lesson learned. There's no struggle. You don't know what's good because you didn't know what was bad.
Right.
You just got given something. So yeah, we like to guide people through.
I think that's something that's happened really bad in the recovery industry, is they've been handed everything and they don't have to do the work, you know, and I feel like that's not setting people up for success.
Yeah. Being of service teaches you that the wealth there.
Right.
So that's what I learned for me. It's what I'm like, oh, this is what I learned, so I'm gonna try to teach it. And then when you find out that you can't teach it well enough, like Einstein said, that if you can't teach it fundamentally, then you don't understand it well enough.
Right.
So to continue to teach over and over again, and I get better as an individual, then it becomes, you know, I become better as a leader.
Yeah.
And then you can see it in the ramifications of the individuals that you help as they rise. You're like, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
And then our standards get higher. And then that, you know, enables them to increase their standards as well, because maybe someone's never pushed them that far before.
Yeah, and that's why I love, you know, working with veterans in that sense, is that like all of us rose our hand and swore a duty in service. Like fundamentally, we want to serve.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of gratification out of serving. I would be lying if I said everything I did is just selfless and for the charity and this and that. No, like I get gratification out of doing this. Like it is the way I make myself whole, is by going and giving back. And I think a lot of veterans feel that same way. So we didn't even ask Andrew.
Right.
He came to us and said, I want to help. I want to serve now. And like, that's what I see out of a lot of veterans, and that's why I'm so passionate about wanting to help veterans and get them, you know, so they can do that. They can be of service to the community.
Yes. That's so great. I love what we're all doing here.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. And there's still a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah.
And there's still a lot of minds to change. Like you and I were saying, we've had to do a lot of knife hand conversations with some individuals.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
That is not what I said.
Right.
You went all the way left.
Yeah.
That's one thing about veterans and how we can keep each other accountable, is we all know what we've been through, and you're like, this is not it. You've done better than this,
You're
and
capable
we
of
know
more.
you have been.
Yeah.
You've been in a better place, so we can keep people accountable in that aspect.
Yeah, there's no easy way out. Like I like to say, you know, with the Stoic virtues now on the website, because that's what I run by myself. You know, for who I am, that's what I run off of, is the obstacle is the way. The only way through is through. The impediment to action is action. So that's what we have to get them to do. Like, take the step.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're capable of until you take the step. It's scary, it's daunting, it's all the things, but take it and then look back and like, okay, I did that. Okay, let's take it a little further. All right, you start building up the momentum, but it's getting them disciplined from the gate. And that's by sharing our stories, our similar stories, so they feel like they're not alone. And and be like right up front. You're like, this is going to be a process. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight, even though a lot of higher institutions and individuals like to think progress happens overnight. That's not what it looks like boots on the ground.
Right.
And it is a struggle, and it's boundaries, and it's finding balance. And Veronica, you're all into holistic modalities in your personal life, and so that's what you do, kind of even your keel out.
Right.
And you can kind of gauge how well you're doing based on your mind-body connection.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like to do with the holistic modalities, is getting people to feel safe in their bodies again. And then the whole build out of this new center is going to have that all built in. So you come in hot, you're like, everyone's in a crisis, it's always an emergency. And it's like, well, okay, you're up here in fight or flight mode. Let's just bring it down 1 or 2 ticks.
Right.
Enough just to see where you're at, you know,
I
because
love
that awareness, the self-awareness, a lot of us lose that along the way.
Yeah.
Until you get into that moment of, I might die.
Right.
And then you see everything differently. And you're not praying for help, save me. You're like, I know I'm strong enough to get through this. And when I get through this, I'm going to try to give that strength back to others.
Yeah.
In whatever way you see your life unfolding, or you just see something online and you're like, I want to go do that.
Yeah.
How can I help? It doesn't have to be veterans. It could be any cause.
Yeah.
But I think service is the way out of everything.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like when you give back to others, you kind of get out of your own head, So
I don't like to say I'm a workaholic, but I enjoy being here and figuring things out along the way, because it does keep me out of self or my past. And it doesn't define me. What I do today is what defines us. It's not even a me anymore. It's like the more and more I feel like I get to level up, that it reflects onto the individuals that come in front of me.
Exactly.
And I don't have this savior complex. It's like, you help me be better by help. If I get to help you, and then I get to see if it didn't work, how can I become better to help others become better? It's just that whole dichotomy there.
It's a good.
It's so fun. We're all around the same age bracket, and both our organizations are super young, so we're learning off each other. I think it's cool that you guys are transparent and you're willing to work together, because a lot of other groups aren't willing to do that just yet. Maybe it's a different era, or it's I don't know. There's some things that aren't just lining up, and I hope that this new build will bring us all together.
Yeah. I think so.
It would be awesome. I do love this space. I think it's a good collaboration space in that. And it's so needed that we come together and work together as organizations. I think it's natural for humans to just have a scarcity mindset and thinking, well, if I'm helping them, then maybe they'll take some of my grant funding, and then I can't do this. And it's like, in my experience, it has worked the opposite. In my experience, the more I've given to something and the more I give to people, the more I get back. And so, our organization, I think, aligns with that culture, and almost everybody I know is always trying to connect with other organizations to help with different things. You have a bunch on the wellness side. Joe has Travis Manion Foundation. There's a whole network of people that are really doing a lot of good work in Arizona for veterans. So I love that, and every chance I get, we'll talk about the good work that they're doing and how we can come together, and the more we do that in spaces here, the better.
Yeah, and we have a lot of fun doing it, because there's a lot of events coming. And Joe is here. He's part of your organization, and he's got a lot of energy, and you guys have events going on, and like JMac, his podcast, he's got a totally different energy, and people attract to different events for different reasons. I think that's phenomenal. His show is pretty cool, and he focuses mainly on mental health. That's awesome, because it opens up a different conversation over there. And your event coming up soon is cornhole for what's the cause?
500 a home, and our campaign to try and get a new property to house veterans in Mesa. So we launched this 500 a home campaign earlier this year. And the concept was we needed $500,000 to close on this property. So if we could get $500,000 from the community by February 1st, that we would close on this property in Mesa. So the event is to highlight that, share news about things, all that stuff. But as a service to the show here and everybody, we'll go ahead and break the news a little early. We were able to secure the funding that was necessary to actually get under contract and close on this property.
Whoop whoop.
So we have a big thing coming for HRP, which is that which is that we will be closing on this 15-unit property in Mesa that we can house veterans in now. So that changes the game for us fundamentally as an organization. The way we were running things previously was utilizing state and donor funds to help rent homes that we could then place the veteran in. Because when a veteran comes to us for housing, it's like, okay, You gonna put them in your house? Or
Right.
No, we have to have a place to put them. So we would rent those for 6 months to a year, right? We'd place a veteran there, and then we would get them all the resources to get them up on their feet now. And that works. Like, that model does work. But it requires a lot of upfront funding to pay for that rent, even at a severely discounted rate, because we did get discounted rent to do that. Because, you go to landlords and say, hey, I want to house homeless veterans. They're usually willing to bring that down.
Right.
But overall, it created a lot of headaches for us. One, in that we're a very small, scrappy organization. We don't have a ton of people. Nobody's paid to go out to these properties and manage them in different locations throughout the valley. So a centralized location would work really well. And then on top of that, the joint living or shared living environment brought on a lot of difficulties as well. Roommates, right?
Right.
They didn't empty the trash, they didn't do the dishes, whatever.
They're just managing people.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly. And our goal wasn't to get in the business of managing veterans and housing. It was to get them up from that housing as a transitional space to then be permanently housed in their own space, right? So this property is the answer to all of that. And then on top of it, we would own the underlying asset, so that allows us to scale and do so much more within our organization. That means we can finally probably start bringing on paid employees to help manage the property. That means we can offer programs and services, and the funding that we would take to spend on rent normally, now that's a even better financial management class. Now that's a retreat to take them to get mental health therapy through off-label treatment programs, different things like that we can now bring to life because we have this space. So we're super excited about it. We're super excited to share that with everybody at this event, but also cornhole tournament. Can't go wrong with cornhole prizes.
Who's better?
Well, he's about to find out. No, I'm just
kidding. I wish
Army. No, I'm just kidding.
I wish I could play, but because there's prizes, I don't think it would look too good if I did win and won the prize, so
See, he's already
politely decline. But yeah, so that event will be Saturday on the 24th at the Barrio Brewery in North Phoenix. I'm sure we can put a link up, and there'll be a link in our bio on our Instagram and all that. That you
don't want to pay the gas to drive up there, you can donate funds to the. No.
Well, there's a ride share here. Are you guys gonna do something like that? Maybe meet at Cider Core.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be
a really
great
good idea.
Yeah.
I could probably fit some people in mine too. So.
Some people might need a driver anyway.
Yeah.
If they meet there, I don't know.
That's a really good idea, actually.
I love going there for the coffee. Pear Cup Works. It's my favorite place.
Yeah, it's just a good environment. I love Cider Core.
It is. It's kind of like here. The hangar is kind of resembles what they. So I'm like, what can we do that make it all the little elements in there that Josh has put in there? It's pretty cool. I want to get those guys on the show too.
Yeah, they do so much for the community too. The bingo night. I love that.
Bingo night's really cool because the fund, it goes to nonprofit organizations.
Yep, we've been a recipient of that for a time or two, and
Mental Joe, the one that I went to, that he's really cool too.
Yeah,
Great. His wife is solid.
Yeah, I love them.
I love their
Great
merch.
couple.
Yeah. I want to get some new merch here. So
that's
you guys are doing that.
A little merch store here. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty.
You seen Black Rifle Coffee set up? You walk in and they have I've seen their.
I was
shirts
showcasing their beans and everything. That it all got drank, so I got to go back at them again.
Yeah, they're great too. They do a lot for the community and a lot of donations.
Yeah, what other events are coming up that you guys want to talk about? Partners or anything in the state that people can get out of their house and get into, anything rec. Because I'm going
MVP.
skiing in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
my dad has a veteran nonprofit. I love to do that.
Yeah,
getting people, finding their strengths again. Right.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, MVP, Emerging Vets and Players, they have a workout every Wednesday at Liberty Gym in Phoenix. Really cool concept there of getting a workout in that is tailored at any skill level, so you don't have to be a crazy athlete to participate. And then when you're done with the workout, everybody does a fireside chat and kind of, gets into, I think they have a therapist there on site and they do some kind of guided talk therapy stuff. But it's really cool. I've done it before myself, and do a lot of healing surprisingly after that workout. Once the endorphins and everything get flowing, and then you sit down and actually talk about some hard stuff. It's good.
Yeah, because moving is the best part of mental health. Like you just
Definitely.
huge.
Yeah.
because trauma is static and healing is flowing.
Yep.
So that's why we do the yoga, neurogenic yoga especially.
Yep.
Yeah, so you get everything moving, and then you're out of fight or flight, and you have some PFC come back online, and you're able to talk about what's coming up for you, or even just opens you up to hear another story, and then find the similarity there and what resonates
Yeah.
Yeah.
for you. And someone else said it, you're like, okay, yeah.
That makes
It's like
so
reading a
much
book,
sense,
and you're
yeah.
like, that's me right there.
Yeah, that's why I really like the East Valley Women's group that you have, because you can resonate, differently with women, and I'm sure men with men, but it's just different, when you have people that have gone through the same
Yeah,
path you've
all the
gone on.
eras. There, some of the WAC women, the Women Army Corps, talk about, being exposed to Agent Orange. Yeah, Nan's back there nodding her head because their boot camp was over there. They had like the
Wow.
vets had on the site of in their boot camp, so they're marching there. Even if say they weren't in Vietnam and they weren't exposed to it there, they were exposed to it here, where it was
That
just
is crazy.
staged in just open air environment, and then their children came out with birth defects, and then to have these women not qualify for a lot of benefits, that's
Because
an
of it.
atrocity to me.
Yeah.
And it's you hear it over and over and over again, and when you hear these women in circles, or you hear them online, or you just
They
that's
went through
another
it,
thing,
yeah.
like the cancer and the adoption. And then I found out about that. It's just, it goes so deep. People don't understand the
Yeah.
depth and breadth of the veteran
Exposure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's intense. So when somebody walks in the door, we don't know what we're going to be met with. It's
Right.
not just like this
Yeah.
checklist and here you go.
No.
So you can't just call up a number and say, I have this issue, and they give you a number to call, and like, here you go, good luck. It's like, no, you need to walk in face to face with another veteran who's been there, or have a collective group of individuals here so they can, like, we have an 84-year-old man in here, Jack Isaacson, who continues to serve, who knows everything about everything, I like to say, because he's been there, done that, and still continues to serve in the veteran service community. He can speak to a lot of these things, or point you in the direction of groups that speaks directly
To you.
any of these. Yeah,
That's why I think it's important to have people of all eras in your organization, because you can get so many different perspectives and
Yeah.
knowledge, and I think it's very beneficial to have all eras.
Yeah, it is. I like the MVP thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to start going to more of those outdoor things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the AZ veteran. What's the Arizona Veterans? What's that website? Has all
I
the
think it's
events on it?
ArizonaVeterans.com,
Yeah.
AZVeterans.com,
AZVeterans.com.
Mr. Tony Riggs,
Mhm. Yeah.
So
has a
Tony Riggs,
calendar.
all the things should be on there. And if your organization, you don't know about it, you can send your events to him, and it'll be posted. So every veteran can just go snoop and see what's going on, or we can post them on our web pages.
Get involved in the community.
Right.
It's huge.
Or
Absolutely
start
huge.
an event and let
Yeah.
us know if you need a space. You can use the space here. This is what it's going to be about.
Yeah.
And how many more people do you need on board to help you fulfill your mission? Like, you got funding for this, but you're still fundraising.
Yeah.
ABF, my chair of the board, says always be fundraising.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you guys going to throw any other big events to try to get some sponsorships, or
I would say absolutely
Yeah,
not.
because it's a lot of work, right?
It is. It's a lot of
We
work.
need like
and
an event planner on board.
yeah, as a small nonprofit, it's so hard to be able to stand up all the necessary logistics to host an event, even a
Right.
small one. And you talk about the sponsorship and funding involved to get it off the ground, which usually isn't too much as a nonprofit. You can usually give people to give you some things, at cost or lower. But it's just a lot of coordination for us right now,
Right.
where our main mission has always been to house veterans. And so we are looking out in the community. For the first 2 years, we did nothing but, one, test the model to see if it even worked. We could have done it a couple times and like, this is not working. We need to
Right.
pivot and do something else. Two, now that we have had a very successful 2025, where we've prevented 30 evictions, we've permanently housed 6 veterans, from homelessness, and raised just over $147,000. Now we want to turn inward as an organization and say, okay, let's take a look at our systems and how we're going to continue to scale onward, and make sure that we're prepared to put this property to use. Right now we have this amazing tool to attack homelessness within Mesa, Maricopa, and Arizona. We need to use it.
That's so smart. You're
now
not
we're
resting
here.
on your laurels.
Nope.
you're like,
turning inward. We're going to make sure these systems are good to go. So when we
refined,
get that
yeah.
first veteran that we're intaking into this property, we have working SOPs, we have things defined so that that veteran, there's a process in place for them all the way through intake to being housed to then moving on to the next best thing for them. Or thankfully with the way that property is set up, we can permanently house them there if need be. So all that's to come, but I think this year, instead of being outward facing as we were trying to be the past couple of years, we're going to kind of turn inward a little bit and focus more on
making the best organization we can make for veterans. Yeah.
Amazing. And that's probably going to give you individual scope on the work you've done and look at what's happened, what's come up for you and how you've changed. And that's amazing. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that we should have talked about in the show today?
No, I think
the most important thing maybe we might have missed.
I don't know, Veronica, you want to talk about the importance of like wellness for you?
We got like 30 seconds. I just want to know if you want to peg at something.
She's gonna take 5 minutes for.
Yeah. I don't have enough time to talk about all that good stuff.
It's important.
Yeah.
Show up for yourself.
No,
another podcast. We will talk about that.
You said, and one of the things was a question for the audience. Leave people with a question.
Yeah. If there's something that you can leave today. So what I want to start implementing is leave something for I want to build this palette that's going to be an interactive board for guests. So bring something from your organization or bring something from your own recovery or your own journey or your pit, what you came out of, that's going to be able, that you want to leave here so the next guest can add to it. And over the year, we can see everything that's something that someone's left behind for you to see. It might give you hope or some inspiration. And what did you guys bring today?
You got yours? I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
I brought a mushroom because it's my favorite thing.
A mushroom sticker?
Yeah, but also mushrooms come from shit, and you can grow from something really shitty. And this is a beautiful thing. So
shit is healing.
Yeah. You can grow something beautiful out of shit. So
that is true. There's a lot of depth there.
Yeah.
Don't really need to unpack it.
Mushrooms are really good for you. So
and psilocybin and all that.
Yeah. I'm a huge advocate for psilocybin. So if you have talked to me longer than 5 minutes, you probably know that.
Yeah.
So
thanks, V.
I will be leaving this for you.
And I, in true Marine Corps infantry fashion, brought you a round of 223.
Nice.
Symbolizing all the sacrifice of our armed services and what they do for us every day.
Thanks, Marine.
Semper Fi.
All right. You guys are great. I think this is going to be cool. It's really going to catch on. And then I have all these ammo boxes I'm going to spray paint with our logo and have like these gifts and stuff. And so when I get them prepared, then I can deliver it to you guys on the show. Because I really look up to you. It's great to find peers who are doing the same work because it is hard. I feel alone in a lot of this most of the time. And it's just like you just got to keep up and keep reaching out and pushing. I have to keep pushing myself to increase my standards and what I know I'm capable of and what I don't know I'm capable of. I'm like, shit, what did I just do? And it's surprising because I had myself in a box too, and we can just keep going.
Yeah.
And the veterans that we're helping teach us so much about ourselves.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge gift to see them succeed and to turn around and say, thank you for letting me help you because that helped me.
Yeah.
And I get to be here today and continue to do this work because this is my purpose, and it's just amazing. And if you're not doing something like this, I implore you to do it because it's awesome, and we get to have fun doing it. I can't wait to check out your event. I'm definitely going to come support you and hope you guys can show up to some of ours.
For sure.
Yeah, and we have some events coming down here. Our podcast production team, Death and I Productions and Happy Jack Media, are documentary filmmakers, and they are graduates from the ASU Film School, and they have released their full-length documentary called This Is Not a Draft. And it's going to be at the Chandler Film Festival on January 31st. Well, it's actually going to be at the Gilbert Pavilion is where it's going to be showing, but it's part of the film festival. And then we also have Kamisha Guy's Quiet Waters is happening at the Tempe Public Library this weekend on Saturday. Those are in the show notes as well. And we have the East Valley Women Veterans second gardening Monday night muster with Lieutenant Colonel retired Wanda Wright from ASU, Oveme. And what else we got? I think that's it. And there might be one or two more, but I'm putting them all down below. And I can't wait for all of you to come out here and experience this, because we're a little different off camera, maybe a little more F-bombs and side slaps and stuff. But it's all in good fun, because we know that if we're here together doing this work, that we're going to continue to see those homeless numbers decrease and the success numbers increase. And if somebody from out of state is watching this, maybe we can help increase and decrease the numbers across whatever scope across the nation, because this is a nationally unrecognized issue, and the numbers do not reflect the real work that's happening here, boots on the ground. As you can tell, it's a lot of work that goes in on it every single day, personally. And the final takeaway is have some effing boundaries and stick to them, because as much as you'd like to give, you need to give to yourself, so that you're not depleted at the end of the day, because you're worth it too. And I thank you for tuning in today, and thank you guys for showing up.
Thank
I'm
you,
so
Veronica.
proud of you.
That you do.
This is amazing work, and I'm so grateful I get to do it.
Yeah.
So next week we're going to have Michelle Cleveland on from Project 24/7, where we go from what's going to happen after you're unhoused, before you go unhoused, what it's like when you're staring down a weapon or something. There's a little app she's created, and it's going to help you reach out for help a lot swifter. So stay tuned next week, and we'll see you next time on The Spotlight.